Welcome back to These Things Are Written on this Friday. I am so glad that you're joining us as we look at Genesis chapter 25. Genesis chapter 25 begins with the death of Abraham, and then it goes through some of the genealogies of pointing out the descendants of Ishmael, Abraham's other son, to Hagar, the handmaiden, and then kind of starts going into the generations of Isaac. And as we begin, we're picking up with verse 21. And Isaac prayed to the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord granted his prayer. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. The children struggled together within her, and she said, "If it is thus, why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord said to her, "Two nations are in your womb, and two peoples from within you shall be divided. One shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger." Two main things to point out in this. First of all, Rebekah had no children, much like her mother-in-law, Sarah. Sarah had no children, and God provided Isaac in her old age. Isaac brought it to the Lord, prayed, most likely having known the promise that God had given to Abraham, that through him, Isaac would be the line that God had promised. So Isaac brought it to the Lord, prayed to the Lord granted that prayer, and Sarah conceived not just one, but two children. But yet, as they were fighting within her, she went to the Lord again to find out, and it said that it was a foreshadow of the struggle that these two boys would have, not only in their lives, but in the nation's lives to come. Let's pick up with verse 24. When her days to give birth were completed, behold, there were twins in the womb. The first came out red, all his body like a hairy cloak, so they called him Esau. Afterward, his brother came out with his hand holding Esau's heel. So his name was called Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when she bore them. When the boys grew up, Esau was a skillful hunter, a man of the field, while Jacob was a quiet man, dwelling in tents. Isaac loved Esau because he ate of the game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Oh boy, a lot in this passage as well. First of all, the names that are given. Names are important. Esau was the name. Esau means red in Hebrew. Jacob's name means he grasps a hold of something, and also he cheats. Those two words, like grasping something that is not yours. And these really foreshadow what's going on in some ways and the nation that they will be. The second part is these were two very different children, and that was reflected in their parents' attitudes toward them. There was a lot of favoritism going on. Isaac having the favorite of of Esau, Rebekah having the favorite of Jacob. Their abilities were different, their talents were different, and their love of the parents were different as well, which really sets up this whole disagreement even more. Now, verse 29. Once when Jacob was cooking stew, Esau came in from the field and he was exhausted. And Esau said to Jacob, "Let me eat some of that red stew, for I am exhausted." Therefore his name was called Edom, which also kind of means red, like Esau. Jacob said, "Sell me your birthright now." Esau said, "I'm about to die. What use is a birthright to me?" Jacob said, "Swear to me now." So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and drank and rose and went away. Thus Esau despised his birthright. So we need to get an understanding of what the birthright meant back then in those days. The birthright was a double portion of the inheritance. So since there were two children, it would be divided in three parts. The youngest normally the oldest would get a double portion, 2/3, and the younger would get 1/3. Here, since Jacob was younger, he wanted the double portion. The second part of this understanding of the birthright was being the leader of the family. Again, often to the oldest, as it is now in our society. But the third most important part was that the birthright meant that he would be heir to the covenant promise. Esau would not be that heir. Jacob would be. They really lived up to their names, didn't they? Well, Esau selling his birthright for red stew, and Jacob cheating his brother out of the birthright. Understanding what was so important about it, not simply the birthright of being the oldest, having the double portion and all of that, but the birthright of being the one through whom God's people would come, the one through whom Christ would come. Great passage here. We're going to continue with this whole dilemma between between Esau and Jacob a little bit later on. On Monday, we're going to see another kind of throwback from Isaac and how he resembled his father, Abraham. Hope to see you then. God bless and have a wonderful weekend. I hope to see you in church.